Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston, and joining me is co-host Andre Doc Manders. Doc, good evening.
Evening, Earl.
How are you today?
Good.
Just left an exciting finish at
Yes.
the National Sports Center where St. George's were able to edge Western Stars by 12 runs in a match that was reduced to 28 overs. Looking at it, St. George's batted first. They were all out for 130 and then restricted Western Stars to 118 for 6 in their allotted overs. Doc, just looking at the scorecard for St. George's, we had Tamiko Wilson. He opened the inning. He scored 40 runs, but it took him 67 balls scoring that 40 runs. And Zari Painter was out for 4. Mackay Simmons scored 35, Charles Trott 10, Zico Burgess 15, Sinclair Smith 10, and then no one else was in double figures. But looking at the St. George's inning, Western Stars done well to blow them out for the 130 inside the 28 overs. You thought?
Oh yeah, they restricted him. It was one of those wickets where it was hard to score on. I heard you saying, but Tamiko scored 40 something, but that was a valuable 40 something because the wicket at the beginning, was sticky, staying a bit low. Was wet from all the rain we had over the last couple of days. So, they was very watchful. But once they got in, they start to accelerate a bit more. There's almost like 89 for 1.
Yes.
And then they lost quite a number of wickets. But that's because Stars was rotating the bowlers, and they tried the slower bowlers that worked on their wicket that they end up losing a cluster of wickets for like maybe about 30 something runs. But yeah, it's one of those wickets you need to, once you get in, you need to stay in. It's one of those wickets you just can't come in and, play your shots. It was a little slow, the buns. So 130, and that field itself being big, it's a very, very big field.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was slow. The outground was slow because all the rain we had, So the ball was real hard getting away from the strip. So that 130 was probably like St. George's wicket or any other wicket was probably like 160, 170. I thought Stars done a really good job to restrict them in the end to 130. But I think maybe complacency settled for Stars because they too found the same thing.
Hit the bat, yeah.
Going. I mean, it was about 6-7 overs. I think they only like 10 or 12 runs. So they struggled real early in the innings too, and that pushed them back, a lot back. And so they got a nice partnership, and they started to settle down a bit, and then they lost more wickets. So it was one of those games where it could have been either way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you look at it, the National Sports Center wicket is the first time they've used that in a few years since the last tournament they had here. So it's going to take some while before that wicket actually matures. I know the national team is training on it, but still it's going to take some time to mature. And again, we've had conditions this past week that has put a lot of pressure on groundsmen. Believe it or not, it was only 2 matches played today. One at the stadium and the other one at White Hill.
Yeah. Because the rest of the games, for all that rain we had the last couple of days, overnight rain, so it's one game in Premier Division, one game in the First Division. So it was good that the game got played, but it was reduced to 28 overs. Then the sun came out, dried the wicket out a bit, but it was still the same. First game on that track, so it's one of the. It didn't really do much, swung a bit, but it was one of those wickets very slow because
Right. Well, in the St. George's inning, you had Brian Holbow 5.2 overs, 4 for 16, and Mackay Youngbuild 6 overs, 4 for 34. So Both of these guys bowl stump to stump. You don't see them trying too many different things, especially Brian Hall. He gets a lot of wickets because he just concentrates on bowling stump to stump.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those bowls, like you said, bowls stump to stump, and his variations are a little different. He's going to give up runs eventually, but it's like if you miss, he's going to hit. He can get stump out because you're good on your wicket and miss, and his variations is a lot different. And I saw St. George's tried the same thing, and Innings too tried the slow bowlers early. Nagging they kept your ball back and making sure that these guys played, on the off side or the on side, and try not to pitch up, because once you pitch up, a lot of these guys are scoring.
Right.
But being that the lush grass was slowing up the ball, and these guys are hitting the ball straight to the guys. It was only like a single, and they couldn't get the twos because
right.
Could have probably done a little bit more running between the wickets. This is Stars, both teams really.
Right.
But it's one of those games where you have to, as captains and players, you have to, look at the field itself, the bowlers, and try to score that. I just thought Stars missed the vote, and they pick up enough singles and twos too. And another thing, I think Trey batted too late.
I was actually going to mention that because Kyrie looked set after Jason got out. Kyrie looked set. He struggled a bit when Jaden was at the wicket. They were struggling to get the ball off the square, and I think there were times that they could have taken a single but chose not to, which actually hurt them. And even when Trey came in, I think there was a lot of indecisiveness about a second run at times, where Kyrie was taking his time to get down the wicket, and Trey was like on his way back kind of thing, and was sent back a few times, and in the end, those extra that double probably cost them several times.
Yeah, and Kyrie was batting so good, at the time. He's the one that started to accelerate at the right time, even Trey. And it's just that both of them got out at the same time, because the scoring rate was so high off. It's like, that both of them didn't have time to to really come in and like they just had to come in and play their shots on a wicket that's and red up bowlers had the slow bowlers on, and it was very hard to score. If you clear the bond, you have to make sure you hit a six.
I was gonna say I was a bit surprised that Trey batted so far down, and so did Brian Hall, because you only had, especially when Dante got out, that's when Jaden came in. But when Dante got out, I'm looking at the scoreboard and looking at the amount of overs left, and I'm saying you got to change your batting lineup because you need your experienced guys at the wicket right now. You need them.
Yes, that's true, and I didn't notice it until I looked. I said, "Hey, that score's not right. It can't be 11 overs left, and they got 58 or 66." So I went to the school. I said, "Hey, it's 11 overs left." The guy said, "Yeah." I was like, "What?" And I'm just observing the game, not really looking at the score, because they go to overs really quick.
Right. They were running between the overs and everything, and they were just burning. And it didn't look as if anybody from Stars was really paying attention until it got too late. That now,
too late.
You're stuck.
Yeah, and the fielding was superb too. The one who drop catches didn't cost him anything, but the ground fielding was excellent. They was running into the ball, they were stopping the odd boundary. They was, so you got to give them kudos. They really fielded pretty good. But then again, like I said, we really never put no pressure on them. Like, we could have been more singles in there. Just keep rotating the strike. Also, big field, so there should have been gaps in there, and it's something they got to learn. And something that and I told Trey off in the game. He says, "I know I shot the game right," because I told him, I said, "Remember, you're playing 28 overs. It's not like 50,
right?
He's balanced himself out. It's 50 overs, y'all. I mean, but you could probably do that. But 28 overs, man, you got to go there."
Can't let it go by and let somebody get a mid in here, and you're gonna stay on top. You gotta be getting runs per ball, kind of thing.
And it's one of the quickest guys between the wickets. He, like you said, he like running between the wickets is good. So that's what they needed at that stage of the game. But something they had a good meeting office. They they found out they was doing the game that was played, so they got the practice in, the safety can go on.
Right.
And most of us just glad they played. You know what I mean? It was, they should have got a victory there, but they knew where they lost the game to.
Interestingly enough, I know Cleveland will be happy because Western Stars lost. So now they have 2 losses in the league. St. George's have 2 losses.
Yeah, but Cleveland didn't play.
I know, but that's the thing. Now Cleveland's ahead by 5 points. Yeah, by 5 points now. So it's gonna come.
You mean Bay?
Bay and Cleveland are undefeated.
Right, but listen to me. Bay had a bye today.
Oh, Bay had the bye. Okay.
Dallas Bay had a bye today.
Right.
Cleveland didn't play. Cleveland was supposed to play St. Davis.
Davis, right.
But the game didn't get played, so each team has a point.
You got 5 points. Yeah, they get 5 points.
What for
no result is 5 points. I confirm that.
They got 5. So
yeah.
But I'm saying
so yeah, Bayless Bay will be happy.
Bayless Bay
lost.
Right. Not only that, they're happy that Cleveland didn't play either.
Cleveland didn't play as well. That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So and then Cleveland Stars play Bay next week.
Right. And that was the thing. Had Stars won this match, a victory next week would have put them right in the driver's seat to win the league.
Yeah, because they had the runway
because of the points.
Yeah, so it's it's one of those games where you say, both teams wanted to play. They hung around so long,
right?
They over that time, so and then the rain comes back a bit more. It's like and I think the ground staff done a good. Alan Douglas' crew done a very good job getting the game played.
Right.
Because that field was still like wet from all that rain. You could see where the ball was hitting and it was slurring up.
Yeah. And that field's got excellent drainage and it still had a lot of water on it because we've had a lot of rain.
Oh yeah, we had a lot. So both teams want to play, so they play it.
Yeah. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk this Somerset Cricket Club's Somerset Bridge match at the White Hill Field. A lot of runs scored. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Vi Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Vi delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Vi are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brasilia blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Come back. Well, up at the White Hill Field, Doc, the only other game The only other game to be played today was the match between Somerset Cricket Club and Somerset Bridge. Somerset Bridge won the toss and sent Somerset Cricket Club to bat. They scored in a match that was reduced to 33 overs. Somerset scored 230 for 1. Opening pair of Amari Eben and Matthew Watson. I mean, they kind of destroyed the Somerset Bridge bowlers. Eben scored 97 off of 95 balls, 9 fours and 1 6. Watson 74 not out off of 92 balls, 4 fours. And then Dominic Sabir came in, scored 33 off of 19, 2 fours, 2 sixes, and they gave up 26 extras. I mean, Somerset, the last few games, have been putting up some big numbers. I mean, I know they're playing in the first division, but you still gotta be able to put the numbers up. And this week, it's Amari Eben just missing out on a century.
Yeah, I thought we was going to talk about Proctor. I thought Proctor was betting again. I said not 100. But yeah, he's been overseas too. You know, he's played a lot of cricket overseas, in England, Australia. So it's cool to see him get runs too. And of course, Matt Watson, he's in the squad too. You know, he's part of the national squad. Call him the Viking.
Yes.
He's very good batsman too. So yeah, Somerset, like you said, even though in the first division you still got to make runs. I mean, their betting is so deep. I mean, I think it was only one game where I think the first game where when they played that against, I think it was against Iraq, where where they lost wickets. Since then, they only lost like 1 or 2 wickets. So
yeah. Last week they scored a big score. This week another. I'm sitting there saying they got 230 and 33. Still another 17 overs if they would have played the 50.
Yeah, interested in it.
Yeah. What would that score have been? I mean, if you look at the bowling, Noah Woods bowled 6 overs, gave up 33. Kareem Hollis bowled 3 overs, gave up 20. Samir Tavares 6 overs, gave up 41. The only person that claimed a wicket was Sean Riley, and he bowled 6 overs, 1 for 45. Stephen Jones 6 overs, none for 44. Long day in the field for them. I mean, even though it was reduced, it was still a long day in the field because they would have been taking the ball and only in the entire inning 18 boundaries. 18 boundaries. We had a total of 15 fours and 3 sixes.
And what end is that in
Somerset's inning.
Somerset inning, okay.
Yeah, the Somerset inning. And in reply, Somerset Bridge scored 107 for 7 in their 33 overs. So I think they made up their mind they weren't going to be bowled out in the 33 overs to get something out of the game. Joshua Gilbert was their top scorer with 40. Only one other person was in double figures, and that was Sean Riley with 13. They lost wickets on a regular. They were 1 for 4, 2 for 19, 3 for 21, 4 for 24, 5 for 28, 6 for 38, and then 7 for 38. And then there was a stand of, Noah Woods was 30 not out. The only other batsman in double figures. So him, Noah Woods, and Joshua carried their bats to the end for Somerset Bridge, and they were there in the 20th over. So for 13 overs, those two hung around, and they managed to score 70-odd runs, just shy of 70 runs, without losing another wicket to kind of, to see Somerset out, although Somerset would win by 123 runs. In the bowling department for Somerset, you had Isaiah Richardson, 6 overs, 3 maidens, 4 for 5. Proctor bowled 6 overs, 1 for 7. Greg Mabry, 5 overs, 1 for 13. Jordan De Silva, 4 overs, 1 maiden, none for 6. Azar Morrissey, 5 overs, 1 maiden, none for 25. Sheldon Caesar, 3 overs, none for 17. So, I mean, I don't think Somerset would be too concerned about not being able to bowl Somerset Bridge out because, they got in the 33 overs to bowl. So it's an opportunity for them to get some match practice in as well, especially fielding out.
Yeah, and this is our first game, or it's the second game?
Is that Somerset Bridge?
Yeah.
Second game.
Second game. Yeah, it's probably trying to get over, but I don't know if I was going to get 230, but it's probably one of those games, like you said, try to get some match practice in. Joshua hung around, got 40. The guy New Awards got 30 something not out. So
30, yeah.
To be no more the other batsmen at least made a little gang out, try to get more runs.
Right.
A little game of it, but
yeah.
Somerset's got a strong bowling lineup too, so just a matter of them. Because you could see like right away they'll one of the top teams to go right back up in the 50 overs. So,
Oh yeah, without a doubt, in the 50 overs, they should return back to the first division with these. I mean, the Premier Division with these.
Yeah, and still got 1 or 2 more players got to come back from school too. So
right,
that even makes it a little strong.
And still, Chris Douglas hasn't played yet.
That's true. But Chris is going back Somerset. I thought he went St. David. He's going.
Did he get a release? I don't recall his.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Maybe he didn't. I thought he went St. Davis or St. Davis. I thought. Well, maybe I saw that somewhere else. I'm not too sure.
Maybe I'm not 100% sure, but
he hasn't played any cricket this season.
He hasn't played any cricket yet.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he did stay Somerset. Like I said.
Right.
So there's another person that's missing too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure with this win today, Somerset, that's 3 wins on a trot. It'll be very difficult to catch them. One more win and probably that guarantees them the promotion spot. And then, from there, it's whether they win the league, but also with other teams, no results this week because yesterday was supposed to be Flats and the under-19s. That didn't get played. Other matches that were scheduled for today included Warwick and Southampton. And those 2 teams would be disappointed because that was the opportunity to pick up a win against each other kind of thing. Both teams are struggling at this time, but not being able to face each other. Who does that result? This result of no result? Who does it hurt more, Rangers or Warwick?
I think it hurts Warwick if you think about it. With Warwick's team, they was probably looking to get some points against Rangers. If they line up they have, Warwick's got a good young team of a few or 3 experienced players. So I think it probably will hurt Warwick. But you never know. Rangers probably looking at them too. Probably saying like, okay, it would have made it an interesting match. Too bad it did rain because it probably been one of those matches where you would have seen both teams, battling it out and to get at least 10 points. So it's just too bad that game got rained off. I wouldn't say rained off, but wow, can't you say rained off because the wicket wasn't prepared in it.
Flooded out.
Yeah.
And then of course the Cleveland County St. David's Cricket Club game. You think St. David's wouldn't have mind this game not being played?
That's hard to say. St. David's a funny team. You can't really say that. It was one of those games where they needed to be in it. So you never know. They got some experienced players down there. You got to remember. It's just that they haven't performed this year. So
right.
I'm sure that Cleveland would probably was hoping to play that game, but it's just as like I said, it's just one of those games where like the pitch wasn't ready. So that would have been another interesting fixture too. But I think looking at Cleveland's team, you probably would think that they would be saying that there's 10 points lost. But
yeah.
I got 5 points, like you said. The cricket's a funny game, so you never know.
Yeah, but it makes it interesting because now St. David's only have Warwick and and Southampton Rangers to play, because they have yet to play there.
Right, because they played a lot of the
They played all the top teams first.
right.
So I mean, today is 5 points for them. They're probably saying, well, that's good for us because now we have the 2 teams we should beat left to play.
Yeah,
But you still got to beat them. You still have to beat them.
yeah. They're probably looking at that too. You know what I mean? So yeah, interesting. Like you said, but we are, like you said, they'll probably be saying, yeah, we got Warwick left and Rangers, but they can't underestimate Warwick.
No.
I'm sure Warwick probably trying to beat them too, because
Yep.
if they Warwick beat them, and I don't know who they played the last game, but they could be saying the same thing too.
Yeah.
I'm sure they want to get a victory in the 50 overs.
Sure.
Now that they didn't play Rangers, so I'm sure they'd be looking at St. Davis saying like, these guys ain't got a win too, so it'd be that's another interesting matchup too.
Yeah, because all eyes, I mean, everyone's watching the top of the table, but you have 3 teams struggling at the bottom that any two of the three can go down. And, St. Davis find themselves in a position that I'm pretty sure they don't like to be in a position, but they find themselves in a position of needing to win games now.
Yep. That's interesting. Like, just say if Warwick beats St. Davis, like, it means they could be down in that relegation too.
Yeah.
Depending on who Warwick played the last game and depending on who St. Davis plays. So, topsy-turvy. Like you said, it's too bad they only play each other once.
Right.
And then after that, it's a knockout games coming up in June.
Right.
So I don't think that draw has been made yet.
Haven't heard anything.
Yeah. And I think the knockouts between the Premier Division and the First Division got their knockout too.
Oh, okay.
It would have been interesting to just have a knockout with all the teams. Like
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
not too
So are they using the 50 over Premier table or the
training.
T20?
I'm not too sure either. I think it's 50 overs.
Oh, okay.
I think. I didn't really look at it, but it probably be the 50 overs.
Right. And then in the First Division, it was supposed to be Devon Chirac hosting Willicots. Willicots have been, up and down this season. An opportunity to try and get another result, but unfortunately, that wicket wasn't ready either. I mean, the rack holds water. Where the stadium drains water, the rack holds water. So
yeah. And you look at, we had so much rain, man. I'm surprised, like these games got played.
Right.
But like you said, the stadium doesn't hold that much water.
Right.
That that grass today was lush green. I mean, you feel like diving on that grass. It just stirred the ball up. So that was good. Anything with them was just getting that that wicket ready. It's too bad they didn't play a few more games on it before this rain came. So
right.
But like I said, it didn't play too bad. It just needs a little bit more rolling and maybe a little bit more sun.
Yeah.
And Alan Douglas and his crew up there done a good job to get that game played. And it was a nice crowd up there watching the sun came out.
Right. There's only 2 games on it. They got a decent crowd.
Yeah. So you had Cleveland there watching, a lot of Cleveland players and fans watching.
Yeah.
You had some Bay fans there watching.
Sure.
And who was enjoying
cricket fanatics. That wherever cricket's gonna be played, they're gonna go and watch.
Yeah. So it was. I'm just glad that a game got played and people got to come out, sun and witness a good game.
Sure. Well, we're going to take another commercial break. Let me come back. We're going to talk about some of our overseas players that have been playing, especially Kamal Leverock playing in the Unity Cup in Washington, D.C. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Joker's putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Doc, Kamal Lavrock has been playing in the Unity Cup in Washington, D.C. for the Florida Scorpions. They made it to the semifinals. However, yesterday they went down by 44 runs. Kamal probably would tell anybody he hasn't had the best time with the bat in his hand, but he's bowled really well in the tournament. In the quarterfinals, he finished with figures of 4 overs, 3 for 39, and then in the semifinal, he took 2 for 26, leading the bowling attack. They played Kingsman cricket yesterday in the semifinal. Kingsman scored 214 for 7 in their 20 overs, and then restricted the Florida Scorpions to 170 for 9. I watched the match, and Kamal was out to a bowl. If the guy could bowl 11 bowls 10 bowls like that, he would have 10 wickets. Just short of a length came up. It surprised him, and he tried to drop his hands, but he bowled caught his glove. It followed him when he tried to bring his hands down. The ball just gloved him right to the wicket keeper. I was like, man, if you can get out, you got to get out to something like that,
Yeah.
But looking at this tournament, and obviously they're playing, they're being paid to play. They're playing on matted wickets with the movable stumps. But we seem to not want to try to go that route. But here they are playing, being paid to play, in playing on those conditions.
Yeah, they got a lot of sponsors out there.
Right.
Spoke to Trey. Trey went out and played for the Florida Scorpions too.
Yes.
And he had the same thing. He was getting used to that Metney ball. Once you get in, it's good. But I see, I remember in the U.S., some of those grants, a lot of the grants out there, for turf wickets, it's hard because, during the day and people always on the field. Cricket's the number one sport out there. They play all sorts of sports on this field.
Right.
So to get a wicket ready, like a turf wicket ready, and trying to have people stay off it is kind of hard.
Right. So it's played at parks.
Yeah, it's like park.
Yeah.
So some grants, I got some grants out there. I think in California, San Francisco area where they've got wickets, turf wickets, and in Florida too.
Yeah.
Got turf wickets, but that particular tournament, I saw that playing in Met. The ball bounces a lot too. There's a lot.
Yeah, it does. It does.
We grew up on the Met, so hard for Kamal and Trey and those guys because they never played on that stuff before. So,
Right.
I played on that years ago. Maybe first started playing cricket when you met me to roll that net when you concrete. So it's one of those wickets it gets a lot of buns, but once you get in, you could score runs.
Right. And that was the thing. I mean, some guys got going and others struggled because, like you said, they're not used to those conditions, not used to that ball bouncing as much as it would. And the bowlers were creative because a lot of them were following the batsman a lot of times, you know, when they knew the guy was going to try something different. It almost seemed as if he knew exactly what he was going to be doing, and he got the ball to follow him a lot, man. I'm like, you know, if they could play on it, why can't we?
See, out there, there's because you're playing on out there. There's Mattins. All you got to do is build top of off stump.
Yeah,
Bunsen, like top of off stump, it'd be hard to score.
right.
That's how Kamal got out. You know what I mean? Probably top of loved it. So, you know, because you got a lot of bunts. So it's what there's wickets like you can't really go on the wicket because somebody could bunch.
Right.
You know? So you could probably have to play a lot of shots off the back foot.
Yeah.
When met. And so and I'm sure a lot of those teams are used to playing, you know, a lot of those players, are used to playing on those wickets. You know?
Right.
Because those are the wickets they play on.
Yeah.
Mal coming from the UK, playing on the wickets a little slower, the track, you know, swinging a bit, maybe swinging, but and then coming on playing on a wicket like real bunsy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, he will have to get in to get used to
Right.
it. But I mean, he's played on it before, so you know,
Yeah.
that's good too.
Yeah. Interesting enough, Nitish Kumar, who used to captain England, he was his teammate as well.
Yeah.
And he was getting runs early because he was playing it safe. But every time when he went to be aggressive, he was always getting himself out because either the ball was coming on to him a lot quicker than he anticipated.
Yeah, see those guys, but Kumar Nish, he was captain of Canada.
Yeah.
And they have not stopped playing on those mat and stuff. So he's
Right.
starting to get used to it now. Or most of the cricket in Canada now, other than the parks, they're playing on turf wickets. Like
Yes.
most of the big clubs are playing on turf wickets.
Mhm.
So they're probably not used to playing on it just
Right.
no more. You know what I mean? So it's a big adjustment. And those guys are good and used to coming down the wicket, you know, and driving, playing the spin or coming down the wicket sometimes, you know. Now, if you come down the wicket, the guys see his eyes go bunch. And you know,
Right.
and it's gonna seem, I mean, the bunt sometimes is going over their heads.
That's what happened in the first game to Kamal. Him and the other opening bat, they were going along so well. And Kamal came down the wicket, and the guy, he had him stumped because by the time he had gotten to where the ball was, it was already going past him.
And that's another thing too, because it comes off the mat a lot quicker. You know,
Yeah.
You know, like because you know, like I said, that mat is hard underneath. It's like sometimes they rule it. It's like real hard shower or
Right.
break underneath, and then put the mat on top. So that
Yeah.
can be hard. When they put
I remember.
trapped hard, you know, and it's good for playing on.
Yeah, I remember we went to Florida, to Broward County.
Mm.
The wicket in the stadium was turf. The wicket outside on the park side
Yes.
was matted.
Yeah.
However, the ground underneath, they just put rocks down there because the minute you walked on it, it moved. And I remember Bermuda played Argentina, and the late Glenn Smith scored a century on it. But it was, I mean, unbelievable that if you lifted it up, you saw it was just loose rubble underneath. I'm saying, and we're playing international cricket on this.
Yeah. So was it real hard or was it just loose like gravel? Like
It was loose gravel.
So that's strange. Because normally they rule it's got to be hard so they could, you know, get the mat nice and tight. So you know.
Carpet was moving, mate. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have, we have, well, as you've already indicated, we have games coming up. We're just quickly looking for who's next. The next week's games, we'll see. In the 50 overs, first division, coming up next week, we'll see. Just get it here. What's next week? June 4th. June 3rd, the under-19s play Somerset Bridge. Somerset on the Sunday play Willicots, and Devonshire Rec play Flats. That's the 50 over first division for next week. Interesting matchup because really, if Somerset, like I said, if they win this match against Willicots next week, they're pretty much guaranteed because they're undefeated to get promoted. It's who's going up with them will be the telltale sign. Willicots will want to put on a good show.
Yeah.
Definitely will want to try and win that one. The unfortunate thing is Flats have lost. Devonshire Rack have not because they've only played what they played 2 games.
They lost against Somerset.
Oh, they lost against Somerset. Yeah, Devonshire Rack's lost. Somerset Bridge has lost both their games. Who's missing?
Well, PAC has dropped out in it. So
Yes.
So it's only a 5 teams down there too, isn't it?
With the under 19s.
The under 19s, yeah. So it makes 6, I guess.
Right. Okay. All right. So the winner out of Rack and Flats, if it's Rack, they'll pick up their second win. Flats don't have a win. Somerset Bridge will want to play the under 19s, and hopefully they could try and get a win out of that. They play, I don't know, on Saturday. Because it's now crunch time for that other promotion spot.
Yeah.
It pretty much looks like Somerset will take that first spot, but it's that second spot. What we'll do is we'll take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the matchups for the Premier Division next week. We'll be right back.
It seems everyone knows someone who's lactose intolerant or just avoiding dairy products. And fortunately, there's a growing array of delicious and nutritious alternatives. Pacific Natural Foods have been doing things their own way simply and sustainably for over a quarter century, making non-dairy beverages with the finest possible ingredients right down to the packaging. Try Pacific Natural Original and Vanilla Hemp Milk and Almond Original Plant-Based Beverage, all sweetened or unsweetened, and low-sodium organic vegetable or chicken broth. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Yes, and Georgia's have only lost 1 game. You're correct. Next week, very interesting matchup at the Wellington Oval on Saturday. Cleveland County and St. George's go to battle. As we know,
Well, St. George's was missing a lot of players today too.
yes,
These 4 or 5 that got injuries. So I don't know how many of those players are going to be back, but I know Mackay Simmons probably injured his hand too, trying to take a catch.
right. Well, he was flexing his shoulder a lot, his throwing shoulder, or his bowling shoulder as well, while he was feeling out in the deep. I noticed how he kept, winding his arm up and holding the top of his shoulder. So I'm not sure if he's carrying a bit of an injury in that shoulder, but he was able to bowl.
I think it was more of his hand. His right hand was swelled up too. I think trying to take a catch. It was a hard catch. Was struck. I mean, it was straight at him. He had to try to catch it because it's going to hit him. So it was like a reflexes catch.
Right.
But yeah, that's going to be still an interesting game. It's one of those games that could either go either way. You can't. St. George's one of those teams they fight to the end. So
Right.
like I said, and Zet is and the thing about it is at St. George's.
Yeah, it's at Wellington Oval. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Bailey's Bay players will be down there cheering on St. George's.
Well, no, that game. Oh, Bay played Stars. What game? That game. That's only Saturday.
That's only Sunday. Right. This game's only Saturday.
Oh, okay.
This
Right.
George's game's only Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, all right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, like you said, yeah, it could be a interesting matchup too. Yeah, it should be a good game. But that June, I tell you, that June the 18th knockout is 50 overs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I look at the schedule.
That's
It's 50
okay.
overs.
All right.
Yeah, then shortly after that would be, a lot of games will be coming up. You're going to have the Central Conters, West Connors,
Right.
and after that, then they probably start the teach training.
A lot of eyes on Sunday. A lot of eyes be over St. David's too, because St. David's entertain Warwick Workmen's. That's a must-win situation for both teams.
Both teams, yeah. So, it's going to be some important games. The matchup between Stars and Bay.
Then that one at Seabreeze Oval.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stars.
With Delray back and the Bay's team that have got a strong lineup.
Yeah,
You know.
but actually, Delray didn't play Delray didn't play last week.
No, he was off the island.
Yeah,
So,
so
sure he'll play this week.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
Hey, that's good. It's nice games, man. That's what you want to see, man. Because
Right.
you got to remember, I like and players like Delray back, or the college, or the UK students come back.
Mhm.
You could see the technique. The way how they play the cricket is a lot different
Right.
than the Bermudian players. So it's good to see these guys like Proctor come, Delray.
Yeah.
Watch when the little boy Thomason comes back. He's playing for
Mhm.
Warwick now. And, a lot of these guys, their technique, they really work on that, like the boy Eben too. A lot of
Right.
these guys work on that technique, overseas. It's just that coming back, it's just about getting used to the wicket. Once
Right.
they get used to the wicket, it's it's easy for them.
Yeah.
Because they played up continues. I played a lot of cricket. These guys sometimes I play like 2 or 3 weeks. two or three games a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas our Bermudan players are playing one,
Yes. Yeah.
1 or 2.
Because they're playing midweek school and then weekend for a club.
Sometimes 15, 16 over games, and 3 weeks. Sometimes these teams, those guys are playing 2 or 3 games.
Right.
And on good wickets, good grounds, and bigger fields.
Yes.
So I'm glad to see Stars play on that field, because not only Stars and Georges too. I mean, the Bonders, it was a nice size field. There was
Yes.
still a lot of gaps in the field. Where
And that's one of the
they need
things
to work
we
on
have
and
to
run
learn.
between the wickets.
Yeah, we have to learn. We have to learn that running between the wickets and the gaps
Yeah.
on big
Yeah.
fields, because internationally, I mean, when Bermuda played, when Herbie had the team and they won the tournament up at White Hill Field, one of the things that everybody commended was they took on fielders. They hit the ball into the gap, and it was getting these singles, and
Yeah.
that was something rare and different, because we did, from a Bermuda team, we don't always see that. You know what I mean?
And then the last Bermuda team, we spoke to the coach too, and he said that's what they was doing too. When they played in Argentina.
Argentina,
Like,
yes.
and not only that, like the other teams is like, you guys are so fast running between the wicket.
Right.
Like they was picking up the gaps, and they was running too, like you said, putting pressure on fielders, taking
Right.
and that all comes from fitness, man.
Yes.
Like, you gotta be fit, man. Like, because you see it in most 2020, the IPL and these teams, guys are running. As soon as the guy miss field, don't go in the game.
I'm going. Yeah.
No hesitation. The players are just going. That's how that's how international cricket is played.
Right.
So when you play up a team like Canada, you might see that in
Mhm.
the game, right? So if Bermuda start doing that now, Canada's going to say, "Oh man, well, we're going to stop these singles too," So
Right.
it's
Right.
that's why the coach is working on that fitness. So
Because it's interesting. Whenever we play international, teams just go out on the boundary, because we try to hit everything outside.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
And on
And-
big fields, you're not going to do that.
No, not on one of all those fields, man.
And I'm glad they're playing up the stadium, like I said. They had some big sixes up to today. I think Zico
Right.
had a big 6.
Right.
one of the other guys, Kyrie, had a nice straight 6.
But down by the poolside. Down by the poolside, yeah.
Yeah, so these guys are hitting straight, so that's good because once you hit straight up, the stadium is a bomb.
Right. Right.
You
It was interesting how there was a period where when Zari Painter was bowling, St. George's had 2 players on the offside up the V and 2 players on the onside up the V. And I was like, okay, well, he has to build very disciplined for them, for the ball to go to, and for several balls in his overs, he was building very disciplined. And I was kind of saying to myself, well, okay, if you're training at this, then it should come easy, but you got to be able to do it.
And that's because nobody came on the track to him.
Right.
So just to go over the top, but then they got Sinker behind. You go on the track and you miss. Sinker on the basket keeps.
Right.
That was intimidating because he was up on the wicket to most of the guys. So it's kind of intimidating, that it's there. But on that wicket where you're getting a little bit of turn, I think maybe they could have tried a little bit more. If the thing about going on the wicket, you just don't go on the wicket. You got to check the flight of the ball. You got to check the hand. Once you got to look up, then you can go on the wicket.
It's giving air. Yeah.
Right, it's giving air. So and you got 2 guys. If you got 2 fielders up there, you could just punch that ball so hard to those guys or over the top.
Right.
But a lot of the guys didn't really take him on, because he built his overs pretty quick, and I believe he built a few bare balls that they didn't really capitalize on.
Yeah.
He dropped a few short where the density balls we supposed to be getting them on us.
And I think, and you're to your point, because the wicket was sticking a little bit, they were through the shot so early. The bare ball the ball was coming off the toe, they back right back to it.
They did. They did. A few of them happened too.
Yeah.
And we had a meeting. They had a meeting off there, and a few of the early batsmen said that, like, where they played Donaldson Davis last week, they scored that 300 the 300, 200.
Right.
They were playing up, they're scoring 300. The ball was coming on. They could have done that.
Right.
It was just a little bit slower, where you just have to be a little bit more, patient and get into the pitch, like I said, Kyrie and Trey was doing that for a good period, but it was the run rate was so high.
Yes.
That those guys had to take chances.
Right. By the time they realized where they were situated, they almost needed 11 runs and over.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was struggling to get the ball off the square.
Right. And what St. George's, like I said, they just kept the ball back. You could take a little single cut out there, or they start pitching up. You had to go across the line.
Right.
You had to go across the line, but they had guys placed on the boundary.
Right.
So, it's something they will have to learn. I thought that 130 was gettable, but I think the first 10 overs changed the match.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a bit about the players of the week. In the St. George's game, St. George's Western Stars game, you had Brian Hall, 4 for 16 off of 5.2. Makai Young, 4 for 34 off of 6. In the Somerset game, Amari Eben, 97 off of 95 balls, 9 fours, 1 6. Matthew Watson, 74 not out off of 92 balls. And Isaiah Richardson, 6 overs, 3 maidens, 4 for 5 for Somerset. Out of those guys, who would you say would be the one that stands out for you the most?
Oh, I was looking at either the boy Amari Eben or the Richardson boy, 4 for 5. One of those guys. But if Amari got a century now, I would have been leading.
Right.
But you can look at the other little boy's stats, 4 for 5. I mean,
yes,
that's good building.
Yes, yeah.
So it's out of one of those two.
Right. I would go with Amari Eben because he set the tone for Somerset, in setting them a good target. Him and Watson opening the innings and putting on that good stand. The fact that Richardson did get 4 for 5, but they didn't build Bria Joel out.
Yeah, true.
So I'm happy to say Amari Eben will be the player of the week if you agree with that.
Yes, like I said, I named him first, but you can't put the fact that at 4 for 5, 97 is good runs, and then you got to probably look at the wicket was probably a little damp. That's
Right.
probably why Thomas Jabril sent him in.
Yes.
For him to bat through that period where the ball might have been swinging around,
Right.
hitting spots and slurring up a bit. So you got to, like you said, he gave the foundation for him. So yeah.
Definitely. All right. Well, Doc, we'll be back next week with another edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. Enjoy your night, brother. Thank you very much.
No problem. We're out.
All righty.